Your favorite business may be going under. And I want to explain what's going on here because according to reports, 1 out of every 7 small businesses here in the United States currently owes the IRS money. The IRS and the Biden administration are about to go after you, and this could hurt your community and the entire state. I'm going to break down what's going on, why this is actually a troubling situation that we're heading into, and what the Biden administration is actually doing about it. But here's a quick little heads up. They're actually going to make things worse, not better. So I'll break that down in just a moment. All I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead and hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. Small businesses are the backbone of the United States. The small businesses are the ones that employ the majority of the people here in the US. But what most people don't realize is that these small businesses, 1 out of every 7, currently owe the IRS money. That's a huge problem. The reason why it's a huge problem, well, we have a few people that chimed in. Well, many people chimed in, but I want to read what one person said. They say there is a real concern right now. They say businesses don't have money. They don't have the revenue that they once did. Wages are higher, meaning they are struggling. We are all struggling. Say, but what is happening right now is small businesses all around the country are needing to pay their taxes. But what happens when they can't afford to pay? Well, the IRS comes after them. Go on to say that obviously there are options that you can implement if you need to pay taxes. However, reports indicate that the Biden administration knows this is coming, that many small businesses are about to skip out on their taxes, are not going to be able to afford to pay their taxes. Keep in mind, the majority of small businesses here in the United States these aren't Fortune 500 companies. They do not employ, a huge legal team. They don't have a huge accounting firm. They don't have that stuff. So they may not know that they are able to go with other options, pay a certain amount, make payments to the IRS. They may not know that. So instead, all these people that may be one person might be a barber, the next person could potentially own a small bar, somebody else could be a landscaper, right? A concrete pourer, somebody could be a tree trimmer, a roofer. It could be anything. And they may not realize what is coming. When they cannot pay their tax bill, the IRS, in many instances, would go after you. Well, here's the problem. We now know that the Biden administration has unveiled a massive $7.3 trillion budget. That's for fiscal year 2025. It includes a $5.5 trillion plan for tax hikes. They say the plans for the highest burden in U.S. history. Now, I want to show you something else. That was an article from the New York Post, but I want to show you this right here. This is his election budget. This is Biden's election budget. You can see right here there's $7.3 trillion in total fiscal year 2025 spending, federal spending, up from the projected 6.9. That was higher than what they were anticipating. But it's the big one. Well, it's not the big one, but it's down here. $12.3 billion for the Internal Revenue Service, also known as the IRS. Just to give you an idea, $12.3 billion is actually the same amount of money the IRS currently gets in 2023. But here's the other issue. The IRS has received tens of billions of dollars. And they've received this money because a couple years ago, there was a bill passed that included $80 billion to the IRS. I believe about $10 billion of that has been pulled back and reappropriated to other measures. But at the same time, the IRS is still getting an extra $5-6 billion a year, right? So again, it is something. So even though they're showing right here, he's only asking for $12.3 billion. The problem is, or the issue is, we still have $5-6 billion per year that's going to the IRS in addition to what they're asking for. But here's what I can tell you: the IRS is gearing up to go after businesses, large businesses and small businesses. They're gearing up to go after individuals. gearing up to go after people that are making money through cryptocurrency and through capital gains. These are things that the IRS has almost let off the hook over the last few years simply because they did not have the manpower. The additional billions and billions of dollars, that has been enough to hire additional manpower, open up new offices, and go after people that they deem as tax cheats. So here's what I can tell you right now. Be prepared. Be very prepared, because what's about to happen, and I'm not even going to talk about the IRS issues, okay? What's about to happen is businesses are going to go under because they have no other option. They are going to close. And when businesses close, let's just think about your, let's say a downtown area in your city. Maybe they have, and I'll just take Seattle, Washington, for example. You have a lot of businesses. Starbucks at almost every single corner. But you got a Starbucks, you have little, mom and pop shops, you have some little retail centers, you got, some, places where people get their hair cut and whatever. What happens when those start to shut down? What about all those high rises, those apartment buildings above those retail locations? So a business is going to shut down because they don't have the money to pay their taxes. The people that live above there are going to move. They don't want to live in a place that doesn't have a Starbucks, doesn't have a pizza place, doesn't have a gym, right? All those things shut down. So then they move. And now you start to see the money go outside the city, outside into the suburbs. Guess what? Your city is about to change. Millions and millions of people are about to live a life that they never dreamed of, where all those amenities are getting further and further away. One thing that experts are concerned with, they say that hundreds of major cities around the United States are going to change. And they're going to change because the IRS is going to come after them. This is a huge issue. Now let me know, do you live in a major city? And if you do, does that sound familiar? Let's look at the pandemic, where a lot of these small businesses shut down. As these small businesses shut down, the people that lived above them or around them, where did they go? They moved. They moved to smaller cities. They started to work from home. They stopped going to these places because these places completely changed. I can tell you right now, Seattle, Washington is different today than it was 4 or 5 years ago. In 2019, Seattle was not that bad. You look at Seattle today, it's completely different. I, for one, can barely recognize it. Certain areas, completely different. But that is what we know as of today. The IRS does plan on going after more people. They do plan on going after large businesses and small businesses. But the IRS is going to do what the Biden administration is asking them to do. That's to go after large corporations, tax them. The Biden administration wants to tax large corporations at least 25%. They say no more loopholes. You have to pay your fair share. And then the Biden administration wants to take that money, put it into things like Social Security, put it into paying down our deficit, and other things like that. So we'll see what happens moving forward. All I can tell you is your neighborhood is about to change, because they are saying that hundreds of major cities across the United States are soon to be changing forever. So as we get more information, I promise I'll fill you in on all the latest news and updates. But as of today, that is what we know. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing. I'll see you guys on the next one.